I mean,
And
my
like my first like Hotmail address, I think was Spice Cat. You know, but
Spice
I
Cat.
Spice Cat. Yeah, I lost that one though. I lost access to it, and somebody else started using it.
That's weird. I had so when my parents got like cable, I had like Joe Coop at Comcast.net or something. And like Coop is
At webtv.net or
like
something
here's the
like that.
funny part. Like my last name or middle name was not Coop. That was like my grandfather's name or like Joe. And I just liked Coop because in my mind when I was like 7 years old, I thought Coop was like grub dogs from Pikmin or Bull Bars.
No,
Yeah.
we gotta,
Yeah, nigga.
dude, we gotta like a fucking goatee Robert Stark, man.
How's it going, Igga?
What's up, nigga?
I'm not going, boy. I was chilling out. Yo, before I was thinking we would talk the entire black this entire episode, but I don't know if it would be cool with Brandon.
Yeah,
You
I
know
mean,
what's up, Brandon, nigga? Are you nigga too, Brandon?
you know, I don't know if we're using our real names here, man. I don't know if you can. You
No,
gotta
you
draw
gotta
the
say
line
like
somewhere.
Shazam every
Yeah,
time.
Yeah,
Shazam,
yeah.
Shazam. I'm telling you that, dude. He said it like after every sentence.
It was a
Oh, dude.
dream.
By the way, the Gleaming Crest is waiting for approval on like Amazon and those sites. So I'm just waiting to see if it everything's formatted. And then it should be up in like 48 hours. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
What about Lulu?
Well, I don't know if it'll be on Lulu yet for a while because like they had too many restrictions, so it was like it was too difficult to get it to work. I don't know why they have so many more restrictions, like as far as like um just stupid stuff, you know, like because it's only like 35 pages, so like I could only select a certain kind of paperback with that page count, and then like it wouldn't let me use white paper. Wanted to make me use cream, which like would not
Thing.
Is
would
this
which
Lulu?
was
Lulu.
which would not like the cream pages like wouldn't have worked because there's like a couple of illustrations and they have a white background, so it would be like they'd be like squares, you know what I mean? So just stupid shit like that, man. So I was just like I got frustrated with it, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to. And they also wouldn't let me choose like a matte cover, and since this is like an old like 90s book, like you know like cardstock and shit like that is just more appropriate, so whatever. um but
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking we would
So
get Ritchie on the show, actually. But
I
Ritchie
don't know
said
who that is.
Ritchie he's a good friend and I thought
Richard Spencer.
no, Richie Morento, and he's really cool. And he said he would be on 20 minutes. He just likes talking about music and really things, but he's like super shy and things like that. And he talks to me every day about girl issues. And I try to like tell him some game, but it's like I'm not that good at game either. So like I'm not really good at game. Like I just like I have a girlfriend right now and everything's cool, but I always want to practice game in case of like she breaks up with me or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you you just got to spam.
Yeah, I mean,
Send
but
out a
I'm thinking like maybe
you
that's
got to
like an
send
old
out
obsolete.
a spam email to leader.
Is it like an obsolete now to spam? Like I was just on Plenty of Fish the other day, and I just was like, I still try to flex the internet dating game, and I'm like, oh, do you like internet memes? Or it's like I go like I like internet memes, and she's like, okay, and then she ghosts me, and she doesn't text back, and it's like,
Right, right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had the same girlfriend for years, so but I still go on there and I'll like not on Plenty of Fish, but like I'll message girls on Tinder and stuff that I match with, but like as soon as they're like interested enough to like want to hang out, then I just like stop talking to them because I have a girlfriend. But like
no, I'm
you
more
know.
like, I mean, I'm kind of like, I have my girlfriend's fine. It's just that I'm afraid that she's not, and so I always feel like I need a plan B, if anything. And people call that two timing, but it's more like, no, I want to see what opportunities they can offer me. But then it's like, today is so shallow. I should just be grateful that I even have a girlfriend who's like committed.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, you're young. There's like, you got a long road ahead of you.
Yeah.
The I mean, the chicks that I dated when I was your age, like most of them are like fat housewives now that I haven't talked to in like 10 or 15 years. So,
Hey, Robert. So the other day I was in Queens, New York,
Right.
and I saw Mearsbo live. And so I was on this hostel bus, meeting this one friend. His name was Al, but not Al Stankard. But I did meet Al Stankard yesterday, and we hanged it out. So when I was taking the other Al, he brought along his like ex-girlfriend
Uh-huh.
who was now single. She was a blonde Jewish girl, and she was pretty attractive. And like she was really flirtatious with me. Her name was Sasha.
What's your last name?
I didn't get her last name. And I was
Is that
kind
her
of thinking
Facebook?
about it today. I was thinking like this girl's really smart. She has a high IQ. She likes interesting stuff. I mean, I don't like the part where she like smokes weed all the time. I don't smoke weed or drink. But like she was just like flirting with me the entire trip there. And then like when we were in our hostel together, she was only like a bed away. And it's like, and then when I got up the next morning, I was like, man, I wish I was waking up right next to Sasha in some spooning position, being like, yes, another day in New York. And I just saw a great concert last night. But things didn't happen. I got home at 2:00 because I parked my car. Like the bus, they dropped off like in Warrington Avenue in Philadelphia. And everyone dropped off. And I had parked my car in a certain position. But it was basically like a free ticket to a festival yesterday of just noise musicians. And it was just like I uploaded 2 videos on my YouTube channel about it, and it was just like nonstop like noise music, Japanese noise music, kind of interesting stuff. But I thought it was interesting. It was a nice time. And Al Stankard, I met right at 4:00 to meet up, and he got I believe he got in later. I paid my ticket, but or no, yeah, no, I paid for food. I didn't actually pay for a ticket. I just paid for expenses, but it was an interesting experience the last 48 hours. I will say that much.
so what's Stankard been up to, man? He kind of like chilled out a little bit. I haven't really seen
Okay,
him.
so I saw Stankard yesterday. He was biking. I said, "What's up?" Gave me a beer. Even though I don't drink beer that much. Stankard told me, I want to go to Paris, France in 2 weeks. I'm like, why is that? He's like, well, I got a girlfriend there, and I want to try to join in the yellow vest activism. I'm like, seriously, Al? I mean, I just sent Al a Google Hangout, but I have no idea where he is right now. But
he's like a wild man, dude. He's like always up in everything. Like I mean, he was in
everywhere. He's just right now in Brooklyn. He's around the Brooklyn.
I mean, he was at the inauguration with Richard Spencer when he got punched. He was at NPI. He was at Charlottesville. Like the second one.
He's got a resume now. It's just that he's just got to get more. He's got to capitalize on it. And he's trying to build something in the New York area where he can have like a space where it's like me and like Patrick Doyle will move in there next year for grad school or something like that if it happens. But he seems to be just going around. He has this interesting job where kind of like indirect sales, persuading people to buy things, I think.
But like outside sales, like, oh dude, that's
yeah, I don't know, but we were just talking about.
I mean, he's got to have some kind of like rich kid source of income or something, because like you can't just go around and do the stuff that he does without having like a legit, bankroll, like a trust fund or something like that. Like, I mean, you can't be like living in New York and going to France and traveling, like, because I haven't even gone to any of those events and stuff. Like, even when I was like more into that kind of stuff and like I would have wanted to go, I would just look and I'd be like, oh, $600 for a plane ticket. Fuck that. $100 a night for a hotel room. Like, nope.
Yeah, that was supposedly the hospital, the group I went with. Everyone had to pay a ticket in advance, but my one friend just had a free ticket, and I just hopped on the ride as a free. And it's great and that's what Al does a lot. You got to hop on for free and let the others pay, and that's really the best experience I enjoyed from. But yeah, it's very frugal living. But definitely Al has parental backing and things like that. I'm kind of jealous because it's like,
I mean, that's got to be nice, because I mean, like, I just fucking just barely scrape by, like, and I just like, can just barely afford to put out my weird books and shit. Like, but
ask a question,
whatever.
Robert Stark. Sorry, Robert. Damn, Robert's not there.
Yeah, he's up to no good.
I thought maybe you'd ask questions about Sasha, but I don't know. Like, no, I'm serious. It's like, it's weird because Robert Stark is like, he's a secret genius in a way, where it's like, I've been spewing Asian Aryan stuff the last 2 years, but then it's like, until you come across the four-leaf clover, which is like a Jewish girl or like some kind of Americanized, it's like, I get it, but it's just really hard to get. And it's not like out. It's like, there's a difference because it's like, one's Asian women, it's like, it's out there, it's popular, but like Jewish women, it's so niche and so like, it's not, but it's like, I think you can understand the benefits if you like, you know.
Brandon, what do you find more beneficial to you?
What do you mean more beneficial? Like
the AA or the IA?
Oh, I mean, what, like the Asian? I don't like. I'm not into Asian girls. I never have been. Like the I mean, some Jewish chicks are all right. I just like, I don't really. I mean, the personality, man, is just so
Yeah.
bad. They're so abrasive. Like,
I know what you're saying. Like, I've already had like
you know what I mean? They just
I know.
got that thing where like even if you're like trying to be, they'll just be like just abrasive and obnoxious for no reason. Just very like I don't even know how to describe it, but I mean, I used to live in Los Angeles, and I was young then, so I didn't understand any of this stuff, and I'd just be like, why does that person just have like such a like, obnoxious, like insecure attitude for no reason? It's like I didn't.
You're saying you've not noticed that from other nationalities?
Not really, no. Like,
isn't it just kind of a general like Mediterranean thing, or you think it's unique to them?
I mean, I think it's mostly unique to them because I don't think that I don't think Italians and that are that standoffish like that. They're just really kind of like, even if the girl doesn't look like it, they have that kind of like Sarah Silverman, like kind of like just really abrasive personality. Like,
I know what you're saying. It's like, it's either like, the way I think of it, it's like you have Chinese women, Japanese women, Southeast Asian women. Everyone desires Japanese women, but no one gets them, and only like this weird fringe hipster elites gets the Japanese women. The Chinese women are everywhere, but the problem is they got square heads, and they just like, don't shame me attitude, whether you like it or not. And as well, the bad part is if they're Stacy Chinese, then they're like this, like really like, I don't like you because you're ugly. I don't like you because you can't buy me things. And it's this like inhumanist, anti-Western personality. That's just, again, I would say toxic. But then I'm referring to like the stupid, like whitewashed Chinese. And then the Korean is like this dysfunctional mix between Japanese and Chinese. And the Southeast Asian is like desperate for anyone. The typical love you long time. We love you a long time. That's the Southeast Asian. But yeah, it ranks to that. And everyone desires Japanese, but no one can get it.
So you said the hierarchy in Asian Aryanism is Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and Southeast Asian?
I would. Well, no, I mean, I think, I guess I think that a lot of Vietnamese girls are pretty. I think the lowest has got to be the Philippines. Man, that's like, that's.
Vietnamese are really beautiful and pretty, and the problem is they can get really kooky. They're a flip of a coin. Vietnamese. They're either like the best or the worst, or they have bipolar disorder. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely it's just like the blonde Jewish woman to Israeli Aryanism. That's like Japanese hipster women and Asian Aryanism. That's like the equivalent. Like, well, I was at Hospital Fest last night, and I couldn't believe what I saw. Like, not to go on like an Elliot Rodgers rant, but it was like, I saw like, okay, Merzbow was the headliner, who's a Japanese noise musician, and then Linecraft, another Japanese Yakuza noise musician. And like the girls were either like weird Japanese girls from like New York with like the most disgusting looking boyfriends ever with like hipster mustaches and like shaved heads, Or it was like the Chinese girl trying to be Japanese by like dyeing her head like blonde or blue. What I'm trying to say is like,
so Japanese more tend to date the hipsters, and Chinese are more likely to date like the STEM nerds.
or like exactly, or the Chinese try to be Japanese, but they know that's their flaw. And at the same time, it was like that these like there were goth wamafels. Like I'm not kidding you. This was like goth white male Asian female couples seeing like noise. I didn't believe there was such a thing until I was like at this event last night. It was so surreal. It was like, I don't know, man. Is this what I want when I advocate Asianarianism? This like goth wamafel everyone's seeing Mersbo? It's kind of a little chaotic. I don't know. It's like maybe something that's happening uniquely in Brooklyn. I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Robert, how would you describe your Israeli Aryan hierarchy? What do you think about brown-haired Jewish girls?
Oh, I like them.
What? You don't like them?
I like them, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Sasha was like last night. I don't know if you were hearing my story, Sasha. She was like really high IQ. She knew everything about music I was talking about, understood race relationship, actually heard about Harlan Venison, and I said, I'm good friends with him.
How does she know about him?
Because she said she looks at the alt-right and reads about it online, and she knew about Harlan Venison's activity. I'm like, no kidding. He's like a really good friend of mine. And she didn't, but as like I was really close. I didn't get her number, but I got her like Facebook page, and like I have her. I'm trying to find. I don't know her last name. That's the problem. I've been searching her name like afterwards. They're the past hours. I'm like, oh, maybe I should ask Al, not Al Stankard, a different Al, where her last name is.
He hasn't come out with like another book in a while. So,
well, ideally, Al Stankard wants to work on legitimate grievances. His work about anti-capitalism and an anti-liberal trend or something, and he wants to focus more on this kind of.
Yeah, he's gotten really into like just like straight up like communism stuff. From his posts, it seems to be like the.
Was he sort of an anarchist at one point?
Yeah, he's anti-capitalist, but he wants to get across like the race realist viewpoints and anti-liberalism through anti-capitalism.
Yes.
And it makes sense. It's just
he's kind of one of the, like moving toward like the like national Bolshevik crowd.
Yeah.
That's what that's what my take on it based on his points is actually kind of more like getting beyond the race stuff and focusing on like a class as like the bigger picture. That's
and you agree with that?
Well, me, I mean, I consider myself as moving into a post-political phase, which is like of just like fluffy bunnies and just gibberish and shit. You know, that's basically like, you know, fashion and like just utter nonsense nostalgia. I think that like that politics is so retarded now that like trying to engage in any kind of like genuine or like coherent strategy toward like persuasion or like accomplishing. So I think it's just like a total waste of time. So so no, I don't. Like I think that just like you know, that you have to kind of ascend into something where you just like find ways to communicate that it's just like it's so far over the head of like everyday like normal stupid people that it's just like you kind of exist just outside of them. That's what I think.
Interesting. What do you think about this, Robert?
So you're basically saying, black-pilled about politics, electoral, like metapolitics, both electoral and metapolitics.
Well, it's beyond the black pill, because the black pill is kind of more of like you're kind of depressed and bitter about just how, you know, how you know what I mean? Like there's no hope or something. It's more like when you get beyond that and you just are like you know, you just kind of ascend into something else where you just kind of exist amidst all this stuff. And when I don't find anything really in common with the alt-right, or even these like the left, like the Bernie crowd, or any of that. It's almost like it's just kind of just ascending into this like this new era. It's just kind of like Melrose Place fan fiction and nostalgia, weird fashion, and things like that, and also just kind of looking like, instead of thinking these old like of like saving the West and all of this this kind of straight up nationalism, I think that stuff is all basically like a retread of the past. I don't think it's like really going anywhere except maybe in Europe, but I think that it's more of a case of like, let's just eat. If we're truly going to move on to like this post-racial kind of weird world or something, then let's just go all out and create like these new racial classifications, like cat girl and pigmen and like vampire and like a you know, fembot and like sentient machine.
Article about that?
Well, I kind of hinted at it in my last article, which was like the lighter side of the black pill, which is kind of addresses like what you just said, is just kind of like a black pill, but not like what I would typically associate with people who are black pilled, that are just like really dark and just like surly. You know what I mean? Those those like really black pilled people that are just like that. I'm thinking of it more of like in terms of like a fun, you know, like like mushroom land kind of fun kind of thing, where you just kind of like
being in the vapor.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of all of this other stuff is just like, I don't know. Partially, it kind of came to me when I was looking at Ariana Grande's Twitter, and it just came to me that like this chick just posts nothing but like gibberish, like goo goo gaga baby talk all day long.
Let me see if you're right.
And she has 60 million followers on there. So like
the most, just nothing but like gibberish.
Yeah, it's gibberish. It's total just gibberish. Like something that like I would have posted in like second grade or something like that. With maybe like the occasional thing that is like just an empty platitude or something like that. And she has 60.
All I see is like selfies and just like
bullshit, like
OMG, I'm beaming, and just nonsense like that.
Yeah, just like text speak, like I love you, you're beautiful. It just total just gibberish. And
yeah, I mean, it really is like being in that film Idiocracy.
Right, and she has 60 million followers. So if you think like the you know, the most scholarly, like intellectual can't even, you know, maybe has like 50 or 80,000 followers or something like that, and you can't even compete with one of those kind of people like an Ariana Grande. And you know, the 60 million people versus your 80,000, but when you go to vote, like you already know that, like, I mean, democracy is just finished. I mean, these people can't even like read, they can't even interpret a coupon. And part of it like also came from me like working retail, and I just like I just came to realize just how dumb so many people are. Like when you're having these like arguments trying to persuade people of these point by point, and you realize that most people you know, most people cannot even handle like civilization to the extent of being able to like understand the like assigned parking spots in an apartment complex. Like it's just kind of like so it's pointless, because even if by some miracle you kind of were like, all right, I'm going to be the guy who like learns how to manipulate these normies with goo goo gaga baby talk. It wouldn't change the fact that you still have to live in their world with them. Like, and so it's like, you know, go ahead, have fun with that, dude. So I think that and I never really understood that this before, but I think that like you have to just kind of ascend and almost become like not so much literally, but metaphorically, like a vampire or like a warlock, in order to just overcome all of this stuff, as opposed to kind of the old way I used to think of, like, it's like, oh, well, you can't just be an individual. We got to band together and defeat. It's just kind of, if you look at all these people, like, it's just like, well, you know, they're not offering anything that I'm interested in anyway, you know. And we can get into some of those other subjects too, because I wouldn't mind talking about like maybe like JF's new book as like a good example of what I'm talking about. But you know JF, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was supposed to be on JF like back in
By nationalism?
Well, no, with Kashif and Rachel Haywire to talk about the meta right and the post right. And
how do you define the meta right?
Well, it's Kashif's project, and the idea was supposedly it would be the right mixed with continental philosophy and up to date with anti-postmodernism jargon. And Kashif, you know, being the big brain nibba he is supposed to, you know, advocate it. But then he looks towards me or Rachel Haywire or other people to do his jobs, and he keeps, I don't know, it's very weird. And now I just feel like it's that kind of collapse because he doesn't have a voice yet. He just likes saying things. And so I don't know, that kind of threw me off to be on the JF show, and we were planning that. So I should tease JF to be on. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing Discord call-in, record our conversations on Homo nationalism and Asian Aryanism until something sparks again.
Have you ever read the Alta Center article on Homo nationalism?
Yes, I loved it.
How would you just how do you describe Homo nationalism?
Well, I guess Homo nationalism is described as a right-wing version. Well, you know, Robert, did you see my new YouTube video about queerness and white nationalism?
Oh, I did, yeah. I mean, I think that's the only way to go.
I mean, well, there was a recent video I did about Greg Johnson's liking for Buttercup Dew, who's an English kid who watches My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and as well, Greg was kind enough to publish his entire book on it as a pamphlet for proselytation. And people like Matt Forney and some other critical people don't like it. And personally, I think it's a little selfish as well, My Nationalist Pony. I think it's a little, why not Israeli Aryanism? Why not your book, Robert? Why did he happen to choose My Nationalist Pony?
What do you think Greg Johnson would enjoy my book? I know Mara reviewed it.
Yeah, I mean, like, Robert, if you were to like make the House of Roger Blackstone and then send it to Countercurrents, I'm pretty sure you would.
Is there any homo nationalism in my book?
Yeah, there could be, and I'm just saying you are Countercurrents material.
And Brandon, if you read my book, have you encountered any homo nationalism in it?
I mean, I would say I have, but I wouldn't say that you're Countercurrents material, though. I don't think you'd really fit in with them at all.
You don't think my book would be a good match for that site?
No, because you're. I mean, number one, like you're pro-Jewish, right? Like
my book is my. You think my book? It could be interpreted as anti-Semitic, depending.
Well, it could be, but the kind of people that are like actual, like serious about that stuff, like they're not going to like an SJW person, like they would be mortified by everything in it. But like to someone like from there, they would, you know, they would not appreciate the philo-Semitism, like, you know, they would not, because you know what I mean. They're ridiculous. They're all about like, no, that's race mixing and stuff. That's the enemy. You know what I mean? Like,
which scene I
think that they're a little. I think they're a little too serious.
But what in particular at the book would they interpret it as that?
Well, I mean, for one thing, like you know, the main character like fetishizes these Jewish women, and just the way things are framed. I don't know. I just think, and that's just talking about your book, though. I'm saying like just in general, if you were just based on what I know of your views, like I don't think it fits with Countercurrents at all. And even the fact that like Greg Johnson is maybe slightly less hostile toward like homosexuality. He's still not in the same, like he's still like a hardcore traditionalist, and he's still not in the same league of we are of like, hey, let's just be all huge pervs. It's totally fine. It's fun. It's awesome. Like, I mean, he's not, you know what I mean? That just the fact that that we think like explicit sexuality is okay. Like even that is just totally out of bounds with much of that crowd, because they're kind of like even the ones over there that are, supposedly gay or whatever, they're still of the kind of gays that are like, well, maybe we happen to be, but like we still don't think that, that gays should be out in the open and like just doing their thing. You know what I mean? So they're still like, I don't know. But yeah, I just think you got to get like, get beyond all of those sites. I mean, even when like I read articles from that stuff, it's also like so 2015, man, or 2016.
Right.
It feels like it was like a decade ago. There's still the same old stuff. It's like, they're just like, I don't know. I don't really relate to it anymore. It's just when you read the articles on these sites that are like, this is what we're going to do to like win over the normies and take over, like it just strikes me as like so delusional, like that. I mean, just the thought of any of these people winning any kind of national election, like the numbers are like completely stacked against you, like already from the outset. Like even if you could convince like 100% of white people to be like, all right, we're going to all vote for the GOP. It's like, okay, cool. Well, that's still not really enough. Like,
trying to get some people to come on the show. I'm like, where's Ritchie? Where's trying to find some Discord friends as well.
Dude, we got a solid lineup, man. This is the pulse of the party. You don't need to be inviting on these riffraff. We got it.
It's weird because like everybody who was like in the podcasting stream either like went to YouTube or now is like deep within Discord culture. I don't know if you guys use Discord, but like Discord's
I mean, I used it a couple of years ago. I don't use it now because like it just seems like a vehicle for like drama and doxing and all kind of bullshit. So I just stay away from it, because all I see that comes from Discord is just a lot of like, a lot of bad news. And then you end up in one of those Discord chats with like, I mean, I think that guy who was like a shooter, he was in one of them or something. Like, imagine if you were like in one of those chats with this retard and then like you had to be investigated or something like that. So I haven't used it in years. Everything
I kind of like the drama, but it's like at the same time, it's like,
well, you do, Pillier. Like that's your thing. You make like call out videos and like, you'll join somebody's hangout to talk shit to him. So I'm not really like that. I'm more like, if I don't, I just like avoid people that I just don't like. I just pretend they don't exist. I don't really like to get up in the mix.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of just, well, Discord, it's like its own virtual city. And it seems like people get caught up in their own drama and create second reality through it. And I just feel like there's a lot of untapped potential from it, where it's like these voices, which are kind of what Kashif was doing on MetaRight, but he only does it on Facebook for some reason, create his own Facebook cargo cult.
Yeah, and I don't like dealing really with anonymous people anymore. I feel like those of us that are kind of are basically out doing our thing, like they're, to me, the like anonymous people are just like, a lot of them are just like, they're pests. I don't know. They don't risk anything. They don't have any skin in the game. They just don't like, I think, once you're out to like a certain extent, like you just, you don't know who they are. And like so many people just turn out to be like complete nut jobs. So like, I just don't really, unless I've like known somebody for like since 2014 or 2015, or and they've developed like a pretty substantial persona. Like I just don't. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, maybe you feel the same way, Robert. I think when you graduate to a certain level, it's just kind of like, because it's like because those people, it's just they say whatever they want because it's like fantasy football to them. You know, they delete their account and they're just like fade back into the world once you're like.
Yeah, you know,
Once
it's
you're
weird. A
out.
lot of people do take Discord so seriously to a point where there was like this white nationalist server saying like, "Oh, I know somebody who met his wife on the Patriot Front Discord, and now they're married." And it's like you have to question whether that's innovation and technology or actually desperate. They're so desperate they're willing to marry like some. I don't know. It's weird. But we have classy liberal on.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Is my audio working?
Your audio is working fine.
Yeah, man, you sound fantastic.
Cool.
Totally in business.
Robert, you should interview classy liberal like Stark Truth Show.
Yeah, classy liberal. What type of stuff are you interested in?
Well, I like science. I like politics. I like philosophy. I like a lot of things. Those are, I guess, the three themes I'm focused on. Obviously, by my name, classy liberal, you can tell my ideology. I'm a classical liberal. So, yeah, I have a little YouTube channel where I interview people. So it's kind of weird that I'm being interviewed. I don't normally talk that much. You know, I'm more of a listener.
Who have you interviewed on your YouTube channel?
Who have I interviewed on my YouTube channel? Tyler Preston 20, Sandre, Black Lightning, David Cedarwood, probably the most controversial one. Liberal Sanity Project, Prometheus the Prophet, Endeavor, Master Shadow Ninja, Outer Face. Yeah, I think that's most, if not all of them. I think Tyler Preston 20 was like the biggest channel I've interviewed.
What was it like when you debated or questioned JF on his live stream? I actually watched that a few nights ago.
Oh, you saw that, Cancer?
I thought it was funny because at least you were confronting him on some issues that he's very ignores. And I just thought it was because most people, like when they shoot down JF, you know, it's always a shit show of like, you know, oh, look what he's doing. He's wrong. But it seems like you had something to say about liberalism and the economy, if you want to recap what happened there.
Okay, so basically, it's not the first time I had encountered JF. I talked to him on another live stream, which I won't upload to my channel because I did a terrible job there. But this time, I think I did better because I was a lot more confident and I was a little bit ready. Although I still think I could have performed better. I could have had my sources ready and I could have articulated my thoughts better. But honestly, yeah, it was fun. It was nice. The chat can't tell whether they love me or hate me. You know, on one side they think I should have been gassed, on the other side they like, they like to see JF destroy a liberalist. I honestly, it was kind of how do I put this though? It's kind of sad that like I'm trying to appeal to like JF's like libertarian side, but then he tries to say that like he tries to like gives me this whole thing that like you know, we can't use like the free market or anything like that to help like certain groups of people though, and it's just, you know, it's basically a waste of time. My favorite
Well, that's a rough crowd too. That audience is not the friendliest bunch. I mean, JF is cool, but like that's, you know, those kind of channels, they attract like pond scum. You know?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
mostly alt-right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's kind of like the quintessential like alt-right channel now. Which I've been meaning to write like an article about JF's book that he came out with, because I don't know, for a while now, like JF's channel was like his show is like in my opinion is one of the only like remaining watchable like alt-right channels that's like, because, you know, he's funny, his personality is like his French accent, it's almost like like watching Peter Sellers or something like that, but he's like yeah, he's just So I thought, oh, well, his guy's channel's okay. And then he came out with this book, which is like um, the Revolutionary Phenotype, which basically the book is. I haven't read the whole thing, but the premise of it is that like gene editing is dangerous, and it's going to lead to the end of humanity if we don't stop it or something like that. And it's just kind of like, so when I saw that, I thought like, oh man, like, well, so much for this guy. Like I liked, this was like the last watchable channel where it seemed like a dude was like I could relate to. And it was like total boner killer.
Right, right. I mean, my favorite part of that discussion or debate, whatever you call it, was when he called me dangerous. Um, and I guess I should give a little bit context of that. So basically, he thought that like when I was talking about like some sort of free market approach to help low income communities, especially African Americans, he thought that I was in a way advocating for some sort of government policy. I think that's how he interpreted it, and that I wasn't really for a free market approach. So then he said, "Oh, you're a dangerous, classy liberal." Just because you call it free market doesn't mean it's a free market. And I thought it was really funny because it's so easy to like just clip that out of context. And it's like, oh wow, he thinks I'm dangerous. JF is afraid of me.
Well, that's I mean, he could. There are worse things he could have called you. There's
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I do like his channel though. I mean, he has that great intro and all that. It feels like you're watching like oh, this is legit, man. I'm watching like Howard Stern or something.
I think the intro's a bit much, to be honest.
Well, but it's epic is the thing. It's like, if you don't take it too seriously, it's like it's just amazing that that it has such an intro.
It's kind of crazy to think that like part of JF's popularity was being a co-host for Andy Worski, and Worski was a complete like gamer stream that would just like create like shit talk on the internet and just like bizarre, like it's not really, it's sort of politics, but it's more like stirring up drama, like trash TV, like Jerry.
Yeah, it was like the Morton Downey, like,
yeah, exactly,
like yeah. I mean, that was a pretty like pathetic era, I think, when that stuff was popular. Like,
even more,
it really brought out like just the scum of the earth.
Do you know what was even more pathetic? Like Countercurrents actually advocating that Andy Race-Worski was like going to motivate, like push white nationalism in favor of, oh, trash TV is our future, and we're converting so many. But it's like, again, that was only like a year. Let me find the article. It was, yeah, here it is. It's by Travis LeBlanc, who actually does subscribe myself and has commented before. And it's called An Identitarian, a Civic Nationalist, and a Classical Liberal Walk into a Stream. The Third One Cucks. That was earlier this year in January the 8th of 2018. And according to LeBlanc, he has another article called Internet Blood Sports, only released a month later. But on the January 8th of 2018, talking about his amazing, 200 quarter million subscribers, and I think at the land LeBlanc says, we are in politics, true, but we are also in entertainment, and entertainment is a business. If one can be proven that someone can make $1 off of letting white nationalists have their say on the platform, you can be sure that there will always be someone out there willing to pick up the dollar. Our enemies understand this and are in panic. But the burden of the proof is one of us prove that there is a demand of what we have to say. So the irony is that to LeBlanc, this demand was only earlier in 2018, and Andy now, again, cutted ties with JF, and it's like, well, that changed, and now it's just JF.
And the problem is that like whenever this new stuff comes around, like all of these people, like that are countercurrents, that they take it so seriously, and they don't like realize that all the people that create these joke channels and these goofs, like that they're just going to be doing this for like 6 months and then they're like on to the next thing. It's not like leading to some kind of awakening or building something, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like some dude gets into this stuff for like 6 months, it has a channel and builds up, and then like then after that his channel gets banned, he disappears, or he just basically starts a new channel that's about fucking gaming or something like that. It's just kind of, it's just not
Hi, Ritchie.
you know what I mean? It's
Hi.
just it's not to get excited about.
I think Robert actually left the stream for a bit, but he might be back on. Hey, Ritchie, how are you?
I'm alright, yourself?
Good. We're just having a discussion with Brandon, Classy Liberal, just to come on because stream's dying down a bit. But if you wanted to talk about anything for the next 10 minutes,
I got nothing, man.
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I saw Mearsbow last night. You know
How was that?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just like Linecraft and Mearsbow, and it was all Japanese noise musicians. And
Ooh.
I was telling Mearsbow, and Linecraft is like this Japanese yakuza with, you know, tats, but it was like real power noise, like classical.
Like White House?
Yeah, like White House. And I couldn't believe this. You know, this was at the Knockdown Center in Queens, and I was just jaw dropped because like everybody was like goth awful, like white male, Asian female. Well, they were like, I couldn't, like, to me, you think like anime and like pretty things and like the typical, you know, but it's like I couldn't believe like we would be talking about like we're talking about like Japanese girls with like pink hair and like hipster dudes with like mustaches and like glasses and tattoos and like, or Chinese girls with like blonde hair. It was like really like out there in surrealism, and I'm like, dude, I don't know, the scene's too, it's strange, but it was interesting. I uploaded 2 of the live videos on my channel, but yeah, Mearsbow is something. It's, but the fog machine went off like 9 times, and just the noise was so abrasive. It's pretty exciting.
Oh my god, it sounds great. Holy shit.
Yeah, I wish you were there. I was with Al Stankard yesterday too.
Nice. How was it?
That was pretty good. What else did you do today?
Not much. Hang out with friends.
Hang out with friends. What do friends say?
Not much.
Not much. Anything interesting that's deep?
No, not at all.
Why?
Not even close.
What?
Not even close, no.
You always do this.
I can't help it, dude. I'm a boring man.
I know, but then you send like really funny girls and internet memes on my Facebook page.
It's different. It's through proxy.
Because you could talk about the aesthetics of women. We were just talking about game before you went on. Like, Brandon, you should talk about game with Ritchie.
What were we talking about? I don't
picking up chicks. Like, give advice to Ritchie about how to pick up chicks. He's desperate to try to pick up girls. He needs advice.
Yeah.
Just mass message them. Yeah. message like 1,000 girls on OkCupid, and you know, wait for the 5 responses you get, and then just, you know, you'll get one. Like, I met my girlfriend on OkCupid like 3 years ago.
Wow.
With using that same strategy, like sending the same message to like tons of different girls. Like, you know, it works. You just got to be patient.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I met my girl on Tinder, so.
Yeah, I mean, it totally works. You just have to, you know, you just have to be persistent with it. Like, not give up the first time you get like some fucking bot responses. You just be like, what is this bullshit? You know. I experiment a lot with OkCupid. I got banned from there once because I was like, I had this idea where I was just gonna send girls like messages that were just like random passages from books, you know, like just random paragraphs from books I would find online, like, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
just any book, or so just a random passage. I got banned for that. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, like, what type of books, though, because it's just...
Like any kind of book, like even just something about, like, people in the wilderness or something, like, just, like, a random, just completely random passages of books.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying, like, it could be a bit weird, like, if it's, I don't know, a passage of the Bible, or... I don't know.
Yeah, well, not the Bible, but I mean, the whole point of doing it was that like, if like a girl's only going to respond to you if you say something like that's weird enough to even get her attention. You know, if you
Fair
just
enough.
like just use these like generic openers or like what's up and shit like that, like that's, I mean, that's not going to fly. You know, so just kind of um, I mean, I don't know. It's just like I just looked at it as I was just going to do all kinds of different stuff, and if I got some like got blocked or some mean messages back, like whatever, you know, just trial and error.